Hey guys, welcome back from the Shift Short. This is Daniel. I know it's been a long week since we last posted. Both Michelle and I took a week off of work for the wedding and everything else. So um, it's been a lot. It's been busy. But we're catching up with recording. We've caught up with audio episodes getting uploaded. So all of that should be available to everybody now. Um, so go dig in and enjoy. Love the support. Glad to see that viewership has gone up both on YouTube and also our audio downloads have hit some peak days that we didn't expect. So that was pretty cool. Um, there's been a lot going on. As some of you who know me personally have seen on both Michelle and I's personal pages, we've been dealing with some local issues related to EMS and EMS education, and in general, um, public knowledge and awareness of what EMS is and does, which we know overall is very poor, is very low everywhere, not just around here in South Carolina. But it's kind of brought to light something that I know that we've talked about, and I know that we've hit on it in various ways, and it's something that has been on my mind for a while, but the recent events have definitely brought it to the forefront to say, fuck no, we need to start addressing this more aggressively. And because so much of what we focus on in the podcast is EMS culture and leadership and um, provider care and raising the bar of what it means to be a provider in EMS. But I think that we as an industry have sold ourselves short. Um, we've done a huge disservice by not being more vocal and public about what we actually do in EMS. Most people have, the fire departments, I think overall, in public service do the best at PR. They're the most aggressive, most active, most in tune with the communities and what needs to happen locally. And law enforcement overall, especially the past few years, has been doing better at that. I would say overall they've been more consistent about having a unified presence and a focus on community policing and so forth. But EMS has unfortunately just lagged behind overall in this. Now, again, are there certain agencies that do this very well? As always, yes, there are some that are doing exceptionally well, and then there's some that aren't. There's a lot that aren't, and um, it's sad because I've noticed, at least in my career, and I'm speaking anecdotally for myself, but also just what I've observed other people at other agencies go through. The old phrase, there's nothing new under the sun. Same problems are being faced everywhere. Um, and I think we've all seen where you have an emphasis on hiring pulse in a patch rather than being picky and properly vetting people. And I feel like instead of prioritizing the hiring of upstanding individuals who are properly vetted and enabling them to be mouthpieces of the industry, we muzzle them with the notorious Facebook police who act like the Nazi Gestapo, to be completely honest. They'll, it again depends on the particular agency or hospital or education facility that they're attached to, but people are scared to say anything about EMS other than, the traditional 9/11 posts or the, line of duty death posts or whatever. Beyond that, if people are saying anything specific about EMS, they're hounded very aggressively. And again, some places are more anal about this than others. Some are a little more hands off, but that's very much the exception, not the norm. And it's sad because it's created this space where people are afraid to affiliate with the agencies that are embarrassed by them. Because instead of properly investing in their people and defending them, there's been this like catering culture. Because now are there kinds of things that people should or shouldn't say? Are there kinds of content that people shouldn't be posting because it reflects poorly on the industry and their employer? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying that you should just, post willy-nilly what the fuck ever and not be held accountable for it. But there's a difference between holding people accountable for actual offenses versus, nitpicking over even remote and innocent things. The things that I've seen people get in trouble for posting on Facebook or comments that they've made. And mind you, people that aren't in any way publicly affiliated with the agency with which they work. It's mind-boggling. But it's because we live in this world where everyone is afraid of offending everyone else. And you have agencies and educational institutions who would rather try not to offend anyone than stand by their employees and protect their rights to free speech. That's a sober thing we need to really absorb here for a second, is that's what we've been reduced to. And that kind of policing has become so normal that we just accept it. Like we've normalized it completely. Sorry, if the ringing phone, it'll roll over here in a second. Somebody else. It's almost done. There it goes. Cool. So you genuinely deal with the Facebook police, the social media police, but we also have a problem where, and this is something else where we're shooting ourselves in the foot as an industry. Our individual presentation to the public is just not great. It's not consistent, and because we're very self-deprecating in EMS. If you haven't already, for those of you who haven't already figured it out, very self-deprecating. We have very dark humor. We make fun of ourselves. We talk shit about ourselves. And we unfortunately translate those interactions to how we interact with the quote civilian world, with the public service folks. And it manifests in a bunch of different ways. We will shit talk ourselves to the general public when we have opportunities to educate them. We will instead shit talk ourselves. We will and I've been guilty of this. You sometimes throw a bunch of technical jargon at them just to get them to leave you alone. Like, you don't want to talk about work. You're standing in line waiting for your food and they want to start asking questions. They're like, I'm sorry, I just really don't care right now. I'm trying to fucking eat. It's what you want to say. And you're trying, but you have to deal with getting out of the situation. But those are opportunities to educate people, either by sitting down and explaining something or simply to behave professionally and to be a positive interaction for them with EMS. Because it may be that their only interaction with EMS thus far has been some assholes that came and were rude to their grandmother. You have the chance. We're so used to seeing EMS people, we realize that the general populace is not used to seeing us face to face outside of the context of a call. And even then, you may have a person that only calls 911 once or twice in their lives. Whereas we go to, 6, 8, 10, 12 calls a day. So don't overlook those opportunities to educate people. Or sometimes we will just ramble on and sound like crazy people and get on a soapbox about EMS and go on and on and on and on. And they're just like, oh, okay. I didn't need to know that. Sorry. Bye. Like, we don't do a good job at self-representation. So that's another thing we need to address. We need to fix, because we do have opportunities to inform the public, but I would go as far as to say we have the duty to educate the public with or without the support of our employers. We have to educate people not just on what EMS is, but what we do. And we have to do it in an actual professional, honorable way. Because otherwise, we're just perpetuating the narrative of we're the redheaded stepchild. So it really bothers me that I feel like we have kind of done this to ourselves, where the general public is completely ignorant of what we do. It's our we're responsible for it. All of us. We're either responsible uh, for behaving in such a way that led them to believe that in the first place, or we're responsible to correct that general image. That responsibility in both cases falls on us. We can't just pawn that off on, oh, well, my boss this, my boss that. Nope. Yeah, your bosses are culpable for shit, but you're still culpable for it too. I think a third way in which we shoot ourselves in the foot is on the topic of education, because we don't, again, consistently as an industry, take education as seriously as we should. Why would I say that? Now, that's not saying there aren't wonderful, wonderful programs, dozens of wonderful programs nationwide. But I'm saying as far as how we treat education, we tend to downplay. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the conversations of, well, a certificate medic is just as good as a degree medic. Okay, sure, cool. When it comes to just raw skills, that may or may not be true. Much of that is largely dependent on the quality of the student, not just the quality of the program. But when you have, the difference, between one program that does X amount of hours and then another program that has hundreds more hours of education and training and hands-on skill development, statistically, overall, those students are given a much better opportunity to succeed and do well and become excellent clinicians. But what do we want? We want to get it over and done with. We just want to get it done as fast as we can. We don't think about long term. What if I want college credits that I can transfer to further my career, either within EMS or doing something outside of EMS? We don't think about that at the time. We just want to get through medic school. And we're like, okay, well, I can go for a year program here, or I could do a full 2-year degree program here. We don't tend to weigh that into the cost benefit analysis that well. And it turns into this thing where we have no unified standards of education nationwide for EMS. Yeah, you've got national registry, but even that's not accepted by everybody. And even then, there's certain things national registry doesn't give like hard and fast limits on. So we already aren't unified. We tend to be a little lazy in pushing for programs that are faster rather than programs that are higher quality. And I think we need to take a page out of the book that registered nurses have played by. Because if you look at it, registered nurses used to be certificate programs. Then they got associate's degrees and normalized those. They said, hey, this is the standard. And then they bumped it up to bachelor's degrees. You have to have a BSN. And lately there's more of a consistent push to push people up to their master's degrees. And they pushed for that progression, but why? Why is that important? Well, they got organized, they standardized, and they put in the work to earn more recognition, more representation, and more money. But they had to put in the work, they had to put in the effort to get all of that. They have excellent representation, they have unions, they have all the things because they did the work. So we can bitch and gripe about it and say, oh, we do just as much as them and we get paid half as much. Okay, but are we doing the same work that they did? Are we holding ourselves to the higher rigorous academic standards that they do? Are we going above and beyond? And I'm not saying that everybody needs to go get a fucking master's degree in EMS. I know they exist. There's not many colleges out there that do it, but the point is we need to take the education a lot more seriously if we want to be taken seriously. If we want to earn respect of the public, we need to put in the work, and we need to beef up our educational standards and our educational perspective and mindset. Because, like I said, we've just embraced this mentality, this identity. It's not just a mentality; it's an identity as the redheaded stepchild of healthcare. That's what EMS is. We're the redheaded stepchild of healthcare. And in a lot of ways, that's unfortunately been proven to be true. But why is it true? Because people are largely ignorant of what we do and who we are. And we perpetuate that. We perpetuate it in how we talk with the public. We perpetuate it in our lack of public relations. We have gotten ourselves into this hole, and we need to get ourselves the fuck out of it. Because eventually, we're going to dig ourselves down to irrelevancy. And we're never going to get anywhere as an industry. We're never going to get what I would argue that we adequately deserve, that we accurately deserve. The spot that we deserve in healthcare and public service and all of it, we have to go earn. We got to stop sitting here like a bunch of fucking crybabies and saying, oh, nobody likes us, nobody respects us, everybody mistreats us. Who gives a fuck? Get up and start taking some action about it. Start educating people. Don't be a dick about it. Don't be condescending to them. Talk to them appropriately. But educate people. Be an advocate. Go write your fucking congressman. Go support your institutions of higher learning. Because guess what? They're starting to fucking die off. There are college programs. There are collegiate paramedic programs that are being shut down in a time when what we're pushing for as an industry is more consistent collegiate certifications. We're taking steps backwards in certain parts of the country. Stand up against that shit. Not just for a personal vendetta or whatever, but because your family members, you want quality clinicians taking care of your family members. You should be fighting for EMS professionals to have the highest standards possible. Just like we talked about with RNs, they're expected to be held to all of these standards. And that's while they're operating in a controlled environment with supervision of multiple physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs, all of that. Paramedics are out there by them fucking selves. When I'm out there, at best, I have another paramedic with me. But most likely, I've got EMTs with me, which is great, which is fine. I love it. But I don't have the luxury of consults at my fingertips, of every single piece of machinery available to me right then, right there. So my level of education becomes so critical at that point because I truly am sitting there on my own. A former medical director of mine, he refers to paramedics as doctors in boxes. This is an ER physician, an experienced ER physician who says you guys are doctors in boxes, quite literally, because you have to make the decisions out there in real time on your own with minimal information. So yes, you should take your education fucking seriously. You can only take so many shortcuts before it bites you in the ass. It's going to bite you in the ass on patient care. Sure, you may save money, you may save time, all the stuff that is going to bite you in the ass eventually. And even if you're going to go that route, if you're going to go to a lower, going to obtain a lower level of care, and I'm not trying to be condescending ass here. Like, I understand that sometimes only resources available to certain people are non-collegiate programs. This is not meant to be a pissing match between, certificate versus degree programs. All I'm saying is we need to be aggressively pushing for a higher standard across the board for our industry. Otherwise, it is going to suffer and die. That's all I've got for you guys tonight. Be safe. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.